The phone shatters the silence at 2:47 a.m. Art Ludwig's world crumbles with three simple words. Nancy is dead. His wife lies motionless in a Detroit hotel room, her hands bearing the savage marks of a desperate fight. Twine, landscaper's twine, binds her wrists like a twisted signature. The killer had taken his time, showering in her bathroom, methodically cleaning himself before walking out with her belongings. 2 suitcases, jewelry, even the trash can liner. Everything vanished, except the violence itself. Detective Sarah Chen stares at the crime scene photos, her instincts screaming. This wasn't random. The positioning, the precision. He'd done this before. She was right. But nobody knew it yet. Margaret Eby returns from a dinner party to her estate home. The gates stand open as always. Trust would become her fatal flaw. The killer waits inside, patient as a spider. The attack comes swift and brutal. Like Nancy Ludwig, Margaret fights with everything she has. Like Nancy, it isn't enough. When it's over, the killer moves to her bathroom and washes the blood from his hands. One small mistake, one tiny slip. His thumb presses against the faucet knob, a print that will haunt him for over a decade. A stranger's letter changes everything. Art Ludwig reads the words that will resurrect his nightmare. His wife's murder sounds exactly like what happened to this stranger's mother. The connection hits Detective Chen like lightning. 2 women, same age, same build, same positioning, same savage defense wounds, same meticulous cleanup. DNA confirms what instincts already knew. 1 killer, 2 victims, 5 years apart. But DNA without a match becomes just expensive confirmation of failure. The investigation explodes across 22,000 names. Monte Carlo owners, hotel employees, airport workers, landscapers, everyone who might have had access, motive, opportunity. Years crawl by. Hope dies by degrees. Detective Mike Torres inherits the file like a curse. 2 brutal murders, 1 invisible killer. The DNA profile sits in databases, waiting for a match that never comes. But Torres possesses something his predecessors didn't: new technology. The automated fingerprint identification system searches thousands of prints in seconds, comparing that bloody thumbprint from Margaret Eby's faucet against databases nationwide. The computer finds him in Florida. Jeffrey Gorton, 39 years old, married with children, living miles from Margaret Eby's estate, driving a gold Monte Carlo, working for a sprinkler company that serviced Eby's property days before her murder. Perfect cover, perfect access, perfect predator. Torres digs deeper into Gorton's past and unearths a trail of violence stretching back years. Women attacked from behind, knocked down, their undergarments torn away. One victim describes the attack with chilling clarity. An animal-like snarl, empty, hungry eyes, the methodical violence of a practiced predator. Police discover hundreds of women's undergarments in Gorton's Florida home. Panties, slips, stockings, trophies from dozens of victims, each piece labeled with names and descriptions, like inventory. This isn't theft. This is obsession. Torres can't arrest Gorton on a decades-old fingerprint alone. He needs fresh DNA, and Gorton isn't volunteering. So Torres does what any good hunter does. He waits. The roller skating rink on Saturday afternoon. Gorton takes his children, plays the perfect father. He orders pizza, drinks from a styrofoam cup, never suspecting the undercover officers watching from across the room. When Gorton leaves, an officer swoops in like a hawk, grabs the cup, rushes it to the lab. The clock starts ticking. DNA degrades fast, especially with heat. The results come back mixed, contaminated. Multiple DNA profiles on 1 cup. But it's enough. Enough for a search warrant. Enough to finally glimpse inside the monster's lair. Inside the monster's lair, Gorton's house looks suburban and ordinary from outside. Forgettable. Inside reveals a museum of obsession. Hundreds of undergarments stuffed in boxes, hidden under mattresses, cataloged like specimens. Then they find the videotape. The footage disturbs beyond description. Gorton modeling stolen lingerie, recording women without their knowledge, his face twisted with sick satisfaction. This isn't just crime. It's pathology made manifest. The smoking gun comes from the DNA lab. Despite contamination, the profile is clear enough. Jeffrey Gorton's genetic signature matches DNA from both crime scenes. They have him. Gorton sits in the interview room, maintaining his facade of innocence. His hands shake slightly, the only sign of terror building inside. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across his face, illuminating every bead of sweat that forms on his forehead. Detective Torres enters with a thick manila folder, its contents representing years of painstaking investigation. He spreads crime scene photographs across the metal table with deliberate precision. Nancy Ludwig's lifeless form stares up from the glossy prints. Margaret Eby's battered hands tell their story of desperate resistance. The detectives confront him about his underwear fetish, his collection, his victims. They describe the hundreds of stolen garments found in his home, the meticulous cataloging, the sick trophies of countless attacks. Gorton's denials continue until they mention Margaret Eby. The room temperature seems to drop. Gorton's breathing becomes labored, his eyes darting between the exit and the two-way mirror. Sweat stains spread across his shirt despite the air conditioning. Then comes the moment of truth, the thumbprint on her bathroom faucet, the house he had never entered, according to his previous statements, the woman he had never met, according to his testimony. The detectives slide the fingerprint analysis across the table. The match is undeniable, the science irrefutable. Gorton's face crumbles as 15 years of secrets crash down. His carefully constructed lies disintegrate in seconds. The mask of suburban normalcy falls away completely, revealing the predator beneath. He requests a lawyer. The interview ends. But evidence speaks louder than any confession. The trial buzzes with anticipation as potential jurors file in. Jeffrey Gorton sits at the defense table, appearing calm and ordinary. A middle-aged man in an ill-fitting suit facing the most serious charges imaginable. Then she walks in. Juror number 7. Petite frame, shoulder-length brown hair, quiet demeanor. She takes her seat in the second row, smoothing her skirt as she settles in. The resemblance to Nancy Ludwig and Margaret Eby is unmistakable. Gorton notices immediately. His transformation is instant and chilling. Gone is the composed defendant. His pupils dilate, breathing becomes shallow and rapid. He leans forward, craning his neck for a better view. His hands grip the table edge until knuckles turn white. The seasoned prosecutor has never seen anything like it. His Gorton stare burns with sick hunger. He shifts constantly, unable to contain the excitement coursing through him. His tongue darts across his lips. When the juror crosses her legs, Gorton's entire body tenses as if electrified. Even with freedom hanging in the balance, even knowing cameras document his every move, the predator cannot suppress his true nature. The juror is quietly dismissed, unaware of the danger she represented simply by existing in Gorton's sight line. As she exits, his head swivels to follow her movement until she disappears through the courtroom doors. Only then does the spell break. Gorton slumps back, the mask of normalcy sliding into place. But everyone who witnessed that moment glimpsed something truly monstrous. A killer who views potential victims not as human beings, but as prey. The evidence is overwhelming. DNA, fingerprints, behavioral patterns, opportunity, access, every piece fits perfectly. The jury deliberates for less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts, Jeffrey Gorton will spend the rest of his life behind bars, where he can't hurt anyone else. But questions remain. How many other victims suffered in silence? How many unsolved cases might bear his genetic signature? Crime author Tom Henderson believes Gorton's reign of terror extended far beyond 2 confirmed murders. Someday, someone will run a DNA sample that kicks up Jeffrey Gorton's name. It might be quite a few cases. Detective Torres reflects on the case that consumed years of his life. Without science and new technology, both homicides would remain unsolved forever. But it still took something basic, a fingerprint, to finally catch him. Art Ludwig finds some measure of peace, knowing his wife's killer will never walk free again. The scars remain, deep and permanent. The Florida victim who survived Gorton's attack speaks for all his victims. She's glad he's locked up for life. He was the most frightening person she'd ever encountered because he was random, secretive, and so ordinary. That's what made him so dangerous. He looked just like everyone else. The monster wore a human face, hid behind suburban normalcy, and struck without warning. But science caught what cunning couldn't escape. In the end, one tiny thumbprint brought down a killer who thought he was invisible. Justice served cold, but served completely.